Money isn't earned, it's summoned. Wealth flows to those who align, not to those who chase. You were born magnetic. You've just forgotten how to tune in. This is your wake-up call. Not to work harder, but to remember the code. This is Money Magnet. The frequency of limitless wealth starts now. Introduction: the wealth within. There is a field where money flows like wind through the trees, where opportunity blooms as effortlessly as spring. This field is not somewhere out there. It lives within you. Beneath the noise of your doubts, beneath the stories of lack that the world has fed you, there lies a current, a radiant pulse of pure wealth. It does not ask. It does not seek. It knows. This is the current we will awaken together. This is the secret the wise ones have always known. The world taught you to chase wealth, to believe it lives outside of you, just beyond the next paycheck, the next deal, the next success. But the truth, ancient and unwavering, is this: money is energy. Wealth is frequency. Abundance is alignment. You do not attract wealth by force. You draw it through the clarity of your being, through the vibration you hold in the silent chambers of your soul. Think back to a moment when money came easily, perhaps unexpectedly. A gift, an opportunity that seemed to fall into your lap, a door that opened without you knocking. In those moments, you touched the field. You felt the flow that cannot be earned, only allowed. The chapters that follow will not teach you to do more. They will guide you to become more, to become the vessel, the conductor, the living magnet through which wealth flows naturally. Each teaching is a sacred key, not to the vaults of the world, but to the vault within. There are no steps to follow here, only frequencies to awaken, only truths to remember. As you listen, feel the energy beneath the words. Let them resonate not in your mind, but in your bones. For wealth is not a thought. It is a state of being. And as you awaken to that state, money will come. It cannot help but come, for you will have become the magnet. You will no longer ask, "Where is my wealth?" You will know, it is already here. It is in the air you breathe. It is in the space you occupy. It is in the certainty that beats with your heart. So let us begin this journey, not of seeking, but of returning to the truth that has always been yours. You are the money magnet. Chapter 1: the currency of energy. Money, as the world has defined it, is paper, metal, digits on a screen. But beneath these forms lies its true essence: energy. A current that moves, that flows, that responds to the frequency of your being. Just as a river follows the path of least resistance, so too does money follow the paths carved open by your alignment, your belief, your vibration. You have been taught to see wealth as something static, something fixed, something earned only through sweat and sacrifice. But money is alive. It breathes, it listens, it responds to the signal you emit into the field of all possibilities. This chapter is not about changing your outer world. It is about tuning your inner signal, about calibrating your frequency so wealth finds you irresistible. Picture this: a small village in the highlands where traders come and go. Two stalls stand side by side, selling the same goods. One is crowded, the other barren. The difference is not in the wares. It is in the energy of the merchant. One stands with open palms, gratitude pouring from his smile, his heart aligned with service. The other stands guarded, eyes wary, energy tight with fear of loss. The customers feel it. Without knowing why, they drift toward the stall that radiates ease. This is the law in motion. Money, like people, gravitates toward openness, flow, abundance of spirit. When you constrict, money feels the closing of the door. When you open, it feels the invitation. Consider a woman named Ilara. She worked tirelessly in a corporate tower, her days measured in tasks completed, emails answered, hours clocked. She chased promotions, clung to stability, but wealth always seemed just beyond reach. One evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, she paused. For the first time, she asked herself not how to earn more, but how to feel more abundant. She lit a candle, sat in silence, and breathed deeply into her being. She felt the tightness in her chest, the fear of never enough. And in that space, she let it go. She began a simple practice each day. Before the hustle, she would center herself in gratitude, not for what she had, but for who she was becoming. Within months, without changing her job, without adding hours, wealth began to flow. Unexpected bonuses, gifts, opportunities. Why? Because she became a match to the current. She tuned her frequency from scarcity to sufficiency, from fear to faith. This is the sacred code of the money magnet. It is not about doing more. It is about being the conductor through which wealth flows freely. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they are the tuning forks of this reality. They either harmonize with abundance or resist it. Imagine standing in a field, the wind of wealth blowing all around you. If your hands are clenched tight, trying to grasp it, it slips through your fingers. But if your palms are open, your heart unguarded, the wind fills you, surrounds you, flows through you. Wealth responds to the open vessel, not the closed fist. Think of another parable. Two farmers plant seeds. One waters with joy, speaks to the soil with reverence, knowing the harvest will come. The other waters with worry, questions the rain, doubts the sun. Both fields receive the same light, the same rain, yet one flourishes while the other languishes. It is not the conditions, it is the energy poured into the earth. Money, like the harvest, grows where faith waters it. It blooms in the soil of certainty. Feel this truth settle into your being. Money is not outside of you. It is the echo of your own energy, the reflection of the vibration you hold. When you tune yourself to the frequency of wealth, money cannot help but arrive. It is law, it is principle. It is the sacred architecture of the universe. And you, dear listener, are the architect. So I ask you now, what is the currency of your energy? What vibration do you send forth into the field? Is it one of lack, of need, of desperation? Or is it one of gratitude, trust, and knowing? You are the transmitter. You are the beacon. The signal you send determines the wealth you receive. Let me share the story of Malik, a street musician who played his guitar beneath the arches of a bustling city. His music was soulful, but his case often lay empty. One day, an elder approached him and said, "You play for coins, but your soul sings for love. Play for love." That day, Malik shifted. He played not for money, but for the joy of the song itself, and as he did, something remarkable occurred. His case filled, not just with coins, but with gifts, with invitations, with abundance he had never imagined. His vibration had shifted, he became the music, and money became the echo. This is the alchemy we will explore throughout this journey. The transmutation of energy into form, of vibration into currency, not through effort, but through alignment. Sacred practice, the frequency calibration. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably, spine tall but relaxed. Close your eyes. Place one hand over your heart and one hand over your lower belly. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you breathe, feel into your body. Ask yourself softly, what energy am I holding right now? No judgment, just observation. Is there tension? Is there flow? Begin to visualize a golden light swirling in your belly, rising with each breath to your heart, filling your entire being with warmth. With every inhale, draw in the frequency of abundance. With every exhale, release resistance, release doubt, release fear. Continue for 5 minutes. When you feel complete, open your eyes and speak aloud. I am aligned with the current of wealth. I am the magnet, and money flows to me effortlessly. As you move through this day, hold this calibrated energy. Know that the currency of your being is already tuning the universe's response. Wealth is listening. Wealth is responding. Chapter 2. The Law of Receiving. There is an art so simple, so overlooked, that it often hides in plain sight: the art of receiving. The world has taught you well how to give, how to strive, how to pour yourself out for others. But few have been shown how to open their hands, their hearts, and simply receive. You were conditioned to believe that receiving is selfish, that accepting too much means taking from another. But the universe, in all its infinite wisdom, knows no scarcity. It flows with abundance so vast, so generous, that to receive is not to take, it is to allow the current to complete its sacred cycle. The river flows not just because it moves forward, but because it is received by the sea. And so too must you learn that giving without receiving creates imbalance, like a stream that pours endlessly without replenishment. The money magnet does not just send energy outward, it draws wealth inward, completing the circle of abundance. Let me tell you of a woman named Miriam. She was a healer, beloved by her community, always offering her time, her energy, her gifts. But her cupboards remained bare, her bank account thin. No matter how much she gave, prosperity seemed to bypass her door. One evening, exhausted from pouring herself into others, she sat in silence and heard the whisper of truth: "You have not allowed yourself to receive." The next day, when a grateful client tried to offer her payment far beyond her asking price, she felt the old urge to refuse, to deflect, but she paused. She placed her hand on her heart, breathed deeply, and said, "Thank you. I receive this with gratitude." That simple act, receiving, fully opened a channel that had been long blocked. From that moment, abundance began to flow. Her practice flourished. Opportunities appeared without effort, not because she gave more, but because she finally learned to receive. This is the hidden law: the universe seeks balance. Giving and receiving are two wings of the same bird. To fly, both must move in harmony. If you give but cannot receive, you block the flow of abundance. You stop the current at your own doorstep. Money is not just something you give away, not just something you strive for. It is something you must allow to enter, to settle, to grow within your life. Many say they desire wealth, but when it arrives, they shrink. They push it away, feeling unworthy, feeling guilt. Understand this: you are worthy, you are enough. Receiving is your sacred right. Consider the story of Daniel, a carpenter whose hands shaped wood into beauty. For years, he undercharged, believing that asking for more was greedy. His work was praised, but his wallet remained thin. Then one day, an elder client said to him, "You rob me of the joy of honoring your craft when you refuse fair payment." Those words struck deep. Daniel realized that by refusing to receive, he was blocking not just his own abundance, but the giver's joy as well. He began to open, to ask for what felt right, to receive fully. His business thrived. Clients felt honored to pay him what his work deserved. In receiving, he restored balance. You too must examine the places where you resist receiving. Do you deflect compliments, minimize gifts, downplay your worth? These are small acts of self-denial, and they ripple through the energy field you send out into the universe. Every time you refuse to receive, you reinforce the belief that you are unworthy. And the universe listens. But when you open, when you say yes to the gifts life offers, you send a powerful signal. I am ready. I am aligned. I am worthy of abundance, and abundance flows. Think of the breath. You inhale, you exhale. To only give without receiving is to exhale without inhaling, to suffocate yourself in the process of service. But when you receive, you draw life into your being. You replenish, you restore. The money magnet understands this rhythm and honors it. They give freely, but they also receive fully, knowing that both are sacred acts. There is a parable of the cup that teaches this well. A student, eager for knowledge, came to the wise master, asking to be taught the ways of abundance. The master poured tea into the student's cup, but did not stop as the tea overflowed, spilling onto the table. "Why do you continue to pour when my cup is full?" the student asked. The master replied, "Like this cup, your life is full of beliefs that no longer serve you. To receive more, you must first empty your cup. Receiving requires space in your mind, in your heart, in your life. If you are filled with limiting beliefs, with stories of unworthiness, there is no room for wealth to enter. You must make space. You must empty your cup." Sacred practice, the open palm ritual. Find a quiet place, sit comfortably, and place your hands open, palms facing upward, resting gently on your knees or lap. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. With each inhale, imagine drawing in golden light, the energy of abundance. With each exhale, release any tension, any resistance, any thought that whispers, "I am not worthy." As you sit, visualize your hands being filled first with light, then with wealth, then with opportunity. Feel the sensation of receiving fully. Speak softly, "I am open. I receive with gratitude." Sit with this for several minutes, feeling the openness of your being. When you are ready, carry this feeling into your day. When someone offers you something, whether a gift, a compliment, or an opportunity, pause, breathe, and accept with grace. Notice how life begins to flow more freely, how the current of abundance meets you where you are. Remember, the law of receiving is not passive, it is active allowing. It is the open door through which wealth enters. And you, dear listener, are the doorkeeper. Chapter 3. The Wealth Identity. Wealth is not something you gather, it is something you become. It is not a sum in your bank account, nor a collection of possessions. Wealth is a state of being, an identity you wear like a second skin, woven not from silk or gold, but from the fabric of your beliefs, your self-concept, the quiet story you whisper to yourself when the world grows still. The world may teach you that wealth is outside, chased, hunted, conquered. But the truth, ancient and immutable, is this: your reality only mirrors back who you believe yourself to be. Your wealth identity is the blueprint the universe follows, the signal it reads, the song to which it responds. If you carry the identity of lack, even millions will feel fleeting, temporary, as if they are slipping through your fingers. But when you claim the identity of wealth, even in the absence of visible riches, the universe begins to arrange itself to reflect that truth back to you. Consider the story of Sophia, a woman whose talents shone like the morning sun, but who, for years, played small. She priced her services low, doubted her worth, deferred to others. No matter how hard she worked, how skilled she became, the outer world could not override her inner narrative. I am not enough to be wealthy. One evening, exhausted by her striving, she sat in the quiet of her room and asked, "Who would I be if I believed I was already wealthy?" The answer came not as words, but as a feeling of calm, steady certainty. She began to embody that version of herself, even when her outer world showed no signs of change. She dressed as though wealth had already arrived. She spoke with authority. She honored her own time and energy. And as she lived into this wealth identity, the world mirrored it back. Clients arrived ready to pay her worth. Opportunities unfolded with ease. Not because she worked harder, but because she became someone different within. You must understand, money cannot outpace your self-concept. It will always come back to the level of identity you hold. If you believe wealth is for others, for the lucky, for the chosen, it will stay distant. But when you declare, "I am wealth," you become the magnet that no force can resist. Your wealth identity is not something you find, it is something you choose. Let me share the parable of the masked king. In a distant land, there was a prince raised among peasants, unaware of his royal bloodline. He toiled, he begged, he scraped for survival, wearing the mask of poverty though he held the inheritance of kings. One day, an old sage removed the mask and showed him his reflection. "You are not what you believe," the sage said. "You are royalty. The kingdom awaits your recognition." And in that moment, the prince remembered. He stood taller, he walked differently. He spoke as one who knew his worth. The world did not change, the prince did. And the kingdom responded. You wear masks too. Masks woven from childhood stories, from past failures, from inherited beliefs about money. But beneath those masks lies the truth of who you are. Abundant, worthy, powerful. You must choose to remove the mask, to see yourself as the universe sees you, as an expression of infinite wealth already complete. Your wealth identity is built not through force, but through repetition, through conscious choice, through embodying the version of you that lives in alignment with abundance. Every time you speak as though you are poor, every time you shrink from asking your worth, every time you defer your desires, you reinforce the old mask. But each time you declare, "I am wealth," each time you honor your time, your energy, your gifts, you strengthen the new identity. Think of Julian, a young artist whose heart beat with visions the world had never seen. Yet he sold his work for scraps, believing no one would pay more. Then one day, he met a mentor who asked, "Do you price your art as though you believe in it?" Julian paused. The truth struck him deep. He began raising his prices, not arbitrarily, but in alignment with his growing belief in his value. His identity shifted from struggling artist to visionary creator, and the world responded accordingly. His art sold at prices he once thought impossible, collectors drawn not just to the art, but to the certainty he carried within. This is the secret. The world reflects what you become, not what you wish for. Your wealth identity is the signal the universe answers. Sacred practice. The mirror of identity. Stand before a mirror. Look deeply into your own eyes, the windows of your soul. Speak aloud, "I am wealth. I am worthy of abundance. I am the embodiment of prosperity." At first, these words may feel foreign. Your mind may resist, but speak them anyway. Feel the energy behind them. Let them settle into your bones. Each day, repeat this ritual, not as a wish, but as a declaration of truth. Watch how your posture changes, how your voice deepens, how your energy shifts. This is not about pretending, it is about becoming. As you move through your day, carry this identity with you. Make decisions from this space. Speak, act, and think as though you are already wealthy, because in truth, you are. The outer world simply awaits your recognition. Chapter 4. The Magnetic Field of Gratitude. There is a force so powerful, so immediate, that it can alter the very frequency of your being in an instant. This force is gratitude, not the polite thank you offered by habit, but the deep, resonant acknowledgement of what already is. Gratitude is the great amplifier. It takes what is present and multiplies it, transforms it, elevates it. In the sacred geometry of the universe, gratitude expands the field around you, widening the channels through which abundance flows. It is not a reaction to receiving, it is the cause of receiving. For the money magnet, gratitude is not an afterthought, it is the foundation, the fertile soil in which all wealth grows. Imagine a garden. Two farmers stand before identical plots of earth. One waters the soil, whispers thanks to the seeds, blesses the rain, honors the sun. The other complains about the labor, curses the heat, doubts the harvest. The seeds cannot help but respond. One field blooms wildly, while the other struggles. Why? Because energy is everything. The soil listens, the universe listens. Gratitude speaks the language of growth. When you embody gratitude, you align yourself with the field of abundance that is already flowing toward you. Consider Jacob, a man weighed down by debt, burdened by lack. Each morning he would wake with dread, his first thoughts focused on what was missing. Bills, obligations, unmet desires. His frequency was one of scarcity, and so scarcity responded. Then, one morning, broken by the weight of it all, he decided to try something different. He sat quietly, placed his hand over his heart, and found one thing just only to be grateful for: the warmth of his coffee, the roof over his head, the breath in his lungs. He let that feeling expand, allowed it to fill him, and slowly, over days and weeks, he noticed a shift. Opportunities arose where there had been none. Unexpected kindnesses, small financial gains. His outer world began to reflect the gratitude he held within, not because the universe had changed, but because he had changed. Gratitude is a tuning fork. It vibrates at the frequency of abundance. When you hold gratitude in your being, you become a match for more to flow into your life, not as a reward, but as a natural response. Like attracts like. The money magnet understands this sacred law. They do not wait for wealth to appear before offering thanks. They thank their way into wealth. They bless the coins in their pocket, the meals on their table, the opportunities yet unseen. Gratitude opens the heart, softens the spirit, and creates a magnetic field so powerful that wealth is drawn in as if by cosmic design. Let me share the story of Elena, a single mother with little more than hope to hold on to. Each night, before sleep, she began a ritual. She would list 5 things she was grateful for, not grand things, but simple, everyday blessings. The laughter of her child, the comfort of her bed, the stars outside her window. Some nights, the list felt difficult, forced. But she persisted, and over time something within her shifted. The weight of lack began to lift. Her energy lightened. Her heart softened. And then, life responded. A new job opportunity arose, aligned perfectly with her skills. Unexpected financial support arrived from a distant relative. Her outer world adjusted to match the field she had cultivated within. Gratitude had become her magnet. You must understand, gratitude is not about settling for less. It is not about resigning yourself to what is. It is about acknowledging the abundance that already exists, even in its smallest forms, and by doing so, expanding it. The universe responds to the energy you emit. When you vibrate with gratitude, you tell the universe, "I am ready for more," and more comes. Think of a radio tuning to a station. If you want to hear the music of abundance, you must tune to its frequency. Gratitude is that frequency. Without it, you are tuned to static, to noise, to scarcity. With it, you hear the symphony of wealth already playing beneath the surface of your life. Sacred practice, the gratitude amplifier. Each morning before the day unfolds, take a moment to list 5 things you are grateful for. Speak them aloud. Feel them in your heart. Let your body soften into the sensation of gratitude. Do this again at night, allowing the energy of appreciation to be the last thing you hold before sleep. For deeper alignment, choose one thing that feels like a challenge and find gratitude within it. This transforms the energy of obstacles into opportunities. As you build this practice, notice how your perspective shifts, how your energy lightens, how the outer world begins to mirror your inner abundance. Gratitude, when practiced consistently, becomes the most powerful magnetic force you carry. It invites wealth to flow, not as a distant goal, but as a present reality. Let this chapter be a reminder. You are not waiting for wealth. You are cultivating it, growing it, expanding it through the field of gratitude you carry. The magnet is already within you. Gratitude is the switch that turns it on. Chapter 5. The Frequency of Desire. Desire is the ember at the heart of creation, the spark that ignites all manifestation. But the world has taught you to fear your desires, to dim them, to tuck them away like fragile things that might break if held too close. You were told that wanting too much was selfish, that it was safer to want less, to expect little. But the money magnet knows better. They understand that desire, when pure and unburdened by doubt, is the language through which the universe speaks. It is the tuning fork that vibrates into existence the life you are meant to live. Desire is not the root of suffering, as some may claim it is the root of becoming. It is the call from your higher self, echoing across the dimensions, drawing you toward your fullest expression. But here is the secret. The frequency of desire matters more than the desire itself. Desire can burn hot with desperation, or it can glow steady with certainty. One pushes wealth away, the other draws it in like gravity. The money magnet understands this distinction. They do not cling to desire with white-knuckled need. They hold it lightly, like a flame cupped gently in their hands, knowing that it will grow without force, without strain. Let me tell you the story of Amir, a man who longed for a life beyond the confines of his small village. His desire was fierce, but it was laced with frustration, tangled with the thorns of impatience. He pushed, he fought, he forced, and the more he struggled, the further his dream seemed to drift. Until one evening, under the starlit sky, he sat quietly and asked himself, "What if I could desire without fear? What if I could want without needing?" In that moment, his desire shifted from a desperate grasping to a gentle allowing. He no longer chased his dream, he became the version of himself who knew it would come. And it did. Opportunities arrived like the dawn inevitable, certain, calm. This is the frequency of aligned desire vibration that calls wealth to you, not through demand, but through resonance. When you desire from a place of lack, you tell the universe, "I do not have." But when you desire from a place of fullness, you declare, "I am ready." One repels, the other attracts. The money magnet holds desires not as missing pieces, but as already unfolding realities. They trust in the timing, in the process, in the dance between longing and fulfillment. Consider the parable of the archer. Two archers stand side by side, aiming at distant targets. One grips his bow tightly, muscles tense, eyes straining. His arrow wavers, his aim falters. The other holds his bow with relaxed focus, breath steady, heart calm. His arrow flies true. Why? Because desire, like the bow, must be held with both focus and ease. Too much tension and the shot goes wild. Too little and the arrow falls short. The perfect balance creates the path for the arrow to reach its mark. Your desires are the same. Held too tightly, they become distorted by fear. Held too loosely, they lose their direction. But held with calm certainty, they manifest with precision. Think of Clara, an entrepreneur who dreamed of expanding her business. At first, her desire was filled with doubt. What if it fails? What if I'm not ready? These questions muddied the waters of her intention. But as she began to practice holding her desire with faith, visualizing her success not as a hope, but as an unfolding certainty, everything shifted. Her energy aligned. Investors appeared. Opportunities she could not have planned emerged, all because she tuned into the frequency of aligned desire. The universe responds to the energy behind your desires, not to the words, not to the surface thoughts, but to the vibration beneath them. When your desire carries the frequency of trust, of expectation, of joy, the universe responds with open arms. Sacred practice, the desire activation. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Bring to mind one desire, something your heart longs for. Feel it fully, without shrinking. Let the vision unfold in your mind. See yourself living it, breathing it, owning it. Now, shift your attention to the feeling behind the desire. Is there tension, fear, doubt? If so, breathe into it. With each inhale, allow certainty to rise. With each exhale, release the need to control how or when it comes. Speak softly to yourself. This or something better is already on its way. Let the feeling of trust, of calm knowing, expand within you. Sit with this vibration for several minutes, allowing your body to relax into the certainty that what you desire is already finding its way to you. Carry this vibration into your day. When thoughts of your desire arise, return to this feeling, desire without need, want without desperation. Hold the frequency of trust. Desire is sacred. It is the voice of your soul reminding you of what is possible. Do not dim it. Do not bury it beneath fear. Hold it gently. Nurture it. Let it sing. And watch how the universe answers, not in struggle, but in symphony. Chapter 6. The Space for Wealth. Wealth is not only about what you attract, it is about what you make room for. Like water seeking the lowest point, like air filling the open vessel, wealth flows to the spaces you create. The universe abhors a vacuum, they say, and in this law lies a hidden truth. Your life must have space for abundance to enter. If your mind is cluttered with doubt, if your heart is crowded with old wounds, if your schedule is packed with tasks that drain you, there is no room for wealth to dwell. The money magnet knows that wealth needs space, not just physically, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually. You must become the open field, the clear sky, the ready vessel. Picture an artist's studio, filled to the brim with half-finished canvases, old brushes, dried paints. The clutter leaves no room for new creation, no space for inspiration to breathe. But when the studio is cleared, when light floods in and space opens, the artist feels a renewed flow. Creation returns. The same is true for you. Your inner world, your physical surroundings, your thoughts all must hold space for wealth to flow. Consider Henry, a man burdened by obligations. Every moment of his day accounted for, his energy stretched thin. Though he longed for wealth, there was no space in his life for it to land. He chased opportunities, crammed his schedule, filled his mind with strategies. Yet wealth eluded him. One evening, guided by weariness, he did something different. He cleared 1 hour from his day, no tasks, no obligations, just space. He sat in that hour with no agenda, only openness. And in that space, ideas began to flow. Creativity returned. New possibilities emerged, unforced. Within weeks, a project arose that brought both joy and financial abundance. Not because he worked harder, but because he made space. You must understand that wealth is not forced into existence. It is invited. An invitation requires space. Your mind, your heart, your surroundings, these are the fields into which wealth flows. If they are filled with clutter, mental, emotional, or physical, there is no room for abundance to grow. There is a parable of the overflowing closet. A woman longs for new clothes, but her closet is so full that nothing new can enter. Dresses from years past, garments she no longer wears, memories of a self she has outgrown, all crowd the space. One day, she decides to release what no longer serves. She clears the closet, makes space, opens room for the new. And soon, without seeking, new garments arrive. Gifts, opportunities, purchases she had not planned but feel perfectly aligned. The universe, sensing the space, fills it. Your wealth operates the same way. If you cling tightly to what no longer serves old beliefs, draining relationships, outdated habits, you block the flow. But when you release, when you make space, wealth flows in. Think of Mia, who for years held onto a position that drained her spirit. It paid the bills, yes, but it crowded her life with dissatisfaction. She feared letting go, afraid the space would be too empty, too uncertain. But the day she resigned, trusting that the space would be filled, the universe responded. Within weeks, a new position arrived aligned with her passions, her purpose, her worth. She made space, and wealth filled it. Sacred practice. The space-making ritual. Choose one area of your life to clear. It could be a drawer, a corner of your home, a belief, a relationship, a habit. Make it intentional. As you release the old, speak softly. I make space for wealth. I open the door for abundance. Feel the energy of release, the lightness that follows. Do not rush to fill the space. Let it remain open for a time. Trust that the universe will fill it with what aligns with your highest good. Notice how this clearing feels not just in your environment, but in your being. Feel the openness, the readiness, the invitation. Wealth is not just what you gain, it is what you make room for. Space is sacred. It is the womb of creation. The money magnet understands this law and honors it not by filling every corner, but by leaving space for miracles to land. Chapter 7. The Wealth of Giving. Giving is the heartbeat of abundance. It is the pulse that sets the rhythm of wealth, the outward breath that ensures the inward flow. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates through cycles day and night, ebb and flow, inhale and exhale. Giving and receiving are two halves of this eternal dance. One cannot exist without the other. The money magnet understands that to give is not to lose. It is to expand. It is to participate in the sacred current that ensures wealth does not stagnate, but moves, circulates, multiplies. But here is the sacred truth: giving must be pure. It must arise not from obligation, not from guilt, not from the hope of return. It must flow from the wellspring of abundance within you. When you give from fullness, from joy, from alignment, you amplify your own magnetic field. You tell the universe, I have enough, I am enough, I am abundance itself. And the universe, hearing this signal, responds in kind. It matches your frequency, sending wealth to echo the energy you have sent forth. Let me tell you the story of Rosa, a baker whose small shop sat quietly at the edge of town. Business was steady but never abundant. One morning, on impulse, she began giving away a loaf of bread each day to someone who needed it. No announcements, no fanfare, just a quiet offering. Over time, this small act shifted her energy. She felt richer, fuller, more connected. And then something remarkable happened. Word of her generosity spread, not as a marketing tactic, but as a whisper through the community. Her shop filled. Orders increased. Wealth flowed in ways she had never expected. not because she calculated her giving, but because she gave from the overflow. You must understand giving expands your capacity to receive. It tells the universe you trust in its abundance, that you are part of the flow. But when giving is laced with resentment or calculation, it creates resistance. The energy behind the gift matters as much as the gift itself. The money magnet gives with open hands, knowing that wealth, like water, returns to those who keep the river flowing. Consider the parable of the two rivers. One flows freely, giving its water to nourish fields, to quench the thirsty, to fill lakes and streams. The other hoards its waters behind a dam, fearful of drought, guarding its flow. Over time, the first river remains vibrant, renewed by the rains, its waters fresh and abundant. The second grows stagnant, its waters heavy, lifeless. Giving keeps your wealth vibrant, alive. Hoarding suffocates it. There is also the unseen wealth that giving generates, the wealth of connection, of goodwill, of unseen opportunities. Think of Daniel, a craftsman who volunteered his skills to restore an old community center. He gave not for recognition, but because it felt aligned. Months later, without seeking, he was offered a contract to renovate a series of historic buildings, work that elevated both his craft and his income. His giving planted seeds he could not foresee, seeds that blossomed in perfect timing. But giving is not limited to money or material goods. You give through your time, your attention, your love, your wisdom. Each offering, when made from a place of abundance, multiplies. You give a moment of kindness and receive back the echo of connection. You give your creativity and receive back inspiration, collaboration, prosperity. The wealth of giving is vast, extending far beyond the tangible. It enriches not just your bank account, but your spirit. Sacred practice, the abundance offering. Each week, set the intention to give from your overflow. Choose one act of giving that feels joyful, aligned. It could be financial, or it could be your time, your skills, your presence. Let it be something that feels expansive, not obligatory. As you give, hold this affirmation in your heart. I give from my abundance. I am part of the flow. Notice how this act of giving feels in your body, how it shifts your energy. Trust that the universe receives this signal and responds in kind, sending wealth back to you through channels both seen and unseen. Let this chapter be a reminder: giving is not about depletion, it is about expansion. When you give with a full heart, you stretch the boundaries of your wealth identity. You affirm to the universe that you are already abundant, and abundance returns multiplied. Chapter 8. The energy of money. Money, beneath its surface, is pure energy. It is not the paper, not the coins, not the digits displayed on a screen. These are merely symbols, representations of a deeper current that flows through all things. Like electricity, it moves, it circulates, it connects. It responds to frequency, to intention, to the energy with which you engage it. The money magnet understands this truth. They see money not as static or fixed, but as dynamic, alive, an extension of the universal flow. To attract money is to harmonize with its energy, to match its vibration, to move with it rather than against it. But most have been taught to fear money, to see it as a source of stress, of scarcity, of division. This fear distorts the energy of money, creating resistance, blocking the natural flow. If you view money as something to fight for, to cling to worry about, you create a frequency of contraction, and money, like all energy, flows away from contraction and toward expansion. The money magnet does not fear money. They honor it, respect it, and treat it as a sacred current. Consider the story of Leo, a man who, despite earning well, always felt anxious about his finances. Every bill, every transaction, carried the weight of worry. His relationship with money was strained, filled with tension. One day, guided by a mentor, he began a simple practice. Before each financial interaction, whether paying a bill, receiving income, or even checking his balance, he paused, breathed deeply, and offered gratitude. He treated money as a friend, an ally, a partner in his life's journey. Over time, his energy shifted, the anxiety softened. Money began to flow more freely. Unexpected opportunities arose. Debts were paid with ease, not because the numbers changed, but because he changed. His relationship with money aligned with respect and gratitude, and money responded in kind. You must understand, money is not your enemy. It is not a necessary evil. It is a neutral force, shaped by the energy you bring to it. If you approach money with love, with appreciation, with respect, it reflects that energy back to you. But if you approach it with fear, with scarcity, with resentment, it mirrors that as well. The energy of money cannot be fooled. It aligns with truth, with authenticity. There is a parable of two merchants. One sees money as a burden, a chain around his neck. Every transaction feels heavy, every exchange filled with dread. The other sees money as a dance partner, moving with grace, flowing with ease. Though their earnings are similar, their experiences are worlds apart. One struggles, the other thrives. Why? Because the energy they bring to money shapes their reality. Think of Maya, a woman who shifted her entire financial landscape through energy alone. She began blessing every dollar that passed through her hands. She touched her bills with reverence, thanked her income streams, no matter how small. Her relationship with money became one of love, and as love often does, it multiplied. Money flowed toward her not as a reward, but as a reflection of the energy she held. The money magnet understands this sacred law. What you love, loves you back. What you bless, blesses you in return. Money is no different. Treat it as sacred, and it will respond accordingly. Sacred practice. The money blessing ritual. Each day, take a moment to engage consciously with your money. Whether you are paying a bill, receiving income, or simply acknowledging your financial state, pause and breathe. Hold your money physical or digital with both hands. Close your eyes and speak softly. Thank you for flowing into my life. I honor your energy. I bless this exchange. Feel the shift in your body, the softening of tension, the expansion of gratitude. Do this consistently, and watch how your relationship with money transforms not just in feeling, but in flow. Let this chapter be a reminder. Money is energy, and energy responds to energy. Align with love, with respect, with gratitude, and you become a magnet for wealth in all its forms. Chapter 9. The Wealth Mindset. The wealth mindset is not a collection of thoughts. It is a state of being. It is the lens through which you see the world, the filter that colors every choice, every word, every belief you hold about yourself and about life. While many chase wealth as an external prize, the money magnet knows that wealth is an inner posture, a way of standing within the world that shapes reality to match its conviction. It is not merely positive thinking, nor is it wishful hope. The wealth mindset is rooted in certainty, in the unwavering belief that abundance is your natural state, that prosperity is not something you must earn, but something you embody. It is the fertile ground where wealth takes root, and from which all outer riches bloom. But how does one cultivate this mindset? It begins by recognizing that every thought, every emotion, every expectation is a seed. What you plant in the soil of your mind must, by universal law, grow into form. If you sow thoughts of lack, of limitation, of fear, you harvest scarcity. But if you plant thoughts of abundance, of possibility, of trust, you harvest prosperity. The money magnet is not free from doubt, but they choose their dominant thoughts carefully, knowing the power they hold. Consider the story of Jonathan, a man raised in a family where money was always scarce, where the language of lack filled the air like smoke. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. These phrases became his internal script, running silently beneath every decision. Even as he climbed the corporate ladder, earning more, his experience of wealth remained distant. His mindset had been trained to expect struggle, to see money as fleeting. But one day, Jonathan paused. He recognized the pattern and chose to rewrite the script. He began by catching every thought of limitation and replacing it with possibility. I am open to abundance. Money flows easily to me. These new seeds, planted daily, began to take root. His outer world slowly adjusted, not because of the words themselves, but because of the shift in energy, the change in frequency. His wealth mindset expanded, and the universe responded. This is the sacred truth. Your mind is the architect of your experience. It draws the blueprints of your life structures. The wealth mindset is not about denial. It does not ignore challenges or pretend away obstacles. Instead, it meets them with the belief that solutions are abundant, that opportunities are ever present, that wealth flows even in the face of difficulty. The money magnet holds this mindset not just when things are easy, but especially when circumstances challenge it. There is a parable of two farmers, both facing drought. One fears the barren fields, sees only loss, and prepares to survive on less. The other, though acknowledging the drought, continues to prepare his fields, repair his tools, ready himself for rain. His mindset remains aligned with the cycle of abundance. And when the rains finally come, he is prepared to receive their blessing. The wealth mindset is this preparation. It is the readiness to receive even when the skies are clear and the ground seems dry. Consider Elena, an artist who struggled with the belief that wealth and creativity were incompatible. She had internalized the story that to be an artist was to suffer, to starve. Her mindset reflected this limitation, and her finances mirrored it. But when she began to shift her beliefs, to affirm that her creativity was a source of abundance, not scarcity, everything changed. She started to see her art as valuable, as worthy of wealth. She priced her work accordingly, spoke of it with pride, and opportunities flowed. The wealth mindset became her foundation, and her outer world adjusted to match. But cultivating this mindset requires consistency. It is not a one-time shift, it is a daily practice, a continual choosing. Every morning, you awaken with the opportunity to align your mind with abundance or with lack. The money magnet chooses abundance. They speak the language of wealth not just in words, but in thoughts, in expectations, in the silent conversation they hold with life. Think of your mind as a garden. Without tending, weeds of doubt and fear grow wild. But with attention, with care, with intentional planting, it becomes a sanctuary for abundance. The wealth mindset is the diligent gardener, choosing what grows, pulling out what no longer serves. This mindset does not mean there are no storms, but it ensures that when the storms pass, the roots of abundance remain strong. Sacred practice, the mindset alignment. Each morning, before you rise, take 5 minutes to align your mind with wealth. Speak aloud or write down 3 beliefs that support your wealth identity. I am abundant. Money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources. I am worthy of wealth in all its forms. Feel these truths as you say them. Let them resonate not just in your mind, but in your body. Throughout the day, notice when thoughts of lack arise. Do not judge them. Simply replace them. Plant new seeds. Water them with attention, with feeling, with repetition. In the evening, reflect on the moments when you aligned with abundance. Celebrate them. This practice, done daily, reshapes your neural pathways, reconditions your expectations, aligns your vibration with wealth. The wealth mindset is not about ignoring reality, it is about creating it. By holding this mindset, you become the architect of your wealth, the magnet through which abundance flows. Let this chapter remind you, wealth is a mindset before it is a reality. Align your mind, and the world will follow. Chapter 10. The Flow of Trust. Trust is the lifeblood of manifestation, the current that carries your desires from thought into form. Without trust, even the clearest intentions falter. Trust is the space between planting a seed and seeing it bloom, the quiet assurance that though the harvest is not yet visible, it is on its way. The money magnet lives in this flow of trust. They know that wealth moves towards certainty, that the universe responds not to anxious waiting, but to the calm knowing that abundance will come, often in ways unforeseen, often in timing unplanned. Trust is not passive. It is an active alignment, a steady choice to remain open, receptive, expectant, even when the evidence has not yet arrived. But trust can be elusive. The world conditions you to doubt, to measure success by immediate results, to fear the unseen. It teaches you that if you do not see wealth, it is not coming. But the money magnet understands that manifestation happens first in the unseen realms, that reality shifts beneath the surface long before it breaks through into form. Trust is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the silent agreement between you and the universe that says, I believe in the process, even when I cannot yet see the proof. Consider the story of Aaron, a man who longed to transition from his corporate job to start his own business. His vision was clear, his passion undeniable, but his trust wavered. Every delay, every obstacle stirred doubt within him. The more he questioned the timing, the more hesitant he became, and opportunities seemed to slip through his fingers. One evening, worn from the battle of doubt, Aaron surrendered. He placed his hand over his heart and whispered, I trust. I release control of the how and when. That single act of surrender shifted everything. With trust as his anchor, Aaron noticed a subtle change. He began to move with ease, to speak with certainty, to embody the confidence that his dream was already on its way. And the universe, sensing this shift, responded. Opportunities that had seemed blocked began to open. The timing aligned perfectly, not through force, but through trust. This is the sacred power of trust. It is not about waiting passively. It is about being ready for the unseen to unfold. When you trust, you hold the door open for wealth. You signal to the universe that you are prepared, that you believe. And belief is the magnet that pulls the unseen into the seen. There is a parable of the farmer and the rain. One farmer plants his seeds and waits with trust, knowing the rains will come in their time. He tends his soil, prepares for the harvest, not with anxiety, but with assurance. Another farmer plants his seeds but doubts the rain. He checks the sky each day with worry, questions whether he should have planted at all. When the rain comes, it finds one farmer ready, the other unprepared. Trust is this readiness. It prepares your soil, aligns your energy, holds space for the harvest. Consider Lila, an artist who struggled to sell her work. She loved creating, but feared the uncertainty of relying on her art for income. Her trust in the process was fragile. Each month, as bills loomed, her anxiety rose, and with it, her creative flow diminished. But when she began to trust, not just in her talent, but in the flow of abundance, everything shifted. She began affirming daily, I trust in the timing of my wealth. She released the need to control every sale, every outcome. And in that release, her energy softened. Buyers appeared, drawn not just to her art, but to the energy of trust she now carried. Her wealth flowed because her trust flowed. The money magnet knows that trust is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to move forward despite it. It is the steady current that holds you when the tides of doubt rise. Trust is an anchor, grounding you in the truth that abundance is always on its way. It may not arrive in the package you expect or on the timeline you desire, but it arrives perfectly, aligned with the highest good. Think of trust as a river. When you release your desires into the current, trust carries them downstream, guiding them through twists and turns, past unseen obstacles, until they reach the open sea of manifestation. But when you resist, when you doubt, you dam the river. You block the flow. Trust opens the floodgates. It lets the current move freely. Sacred practice. The trust invocation. Each morning, stand with your feet firmly planted on the ground. Close your eyes. Place your hands over your heart. Breathe deeply. With each inhale, draw in the energy of trust. With each exhale, release the need to control outcomes. Speak aloud. I trust the timing of my wealth. I trust the process of my life. I trust that what I seek is seeking me. Feel these words settle into your body. Let them become your vibration. Throughout the day, when doubt arises, return to this breath, to this invocation. Trust is not a one-time act. It is a practice, a continual return to faith. Let this chapter be a reminder. Trust is the channel through which wealth flows. It is the unseen force that shapes the visible. When you trust, you open the door for abundance to enter. You align with the current of life, allowing wealth to arrive not through force, but through flow. Chapter 11. The Power of Expectation. Expectation is the quiet architect behind every manifestation. It is the silent decree that shapes what you allow yourself to receive. The money magnet understands that wealth does not come merely from desire alone, but from the expectation that what is desired will, without fail, arrive. Expectation is the bridge between trust and receiving. While trust says, "I believe it's coming," expectation declares, "It is already on its way." The two work hand in hand, but expectation carries a different weight, a certainty, a knowing, a pulling of the unseen into form by the sheer gravity of belief. It is not hope, it is not a wish. It is an inner commandment written in the chambers of your being that aligns you with the outcome you seek. Yet, for many, expectation is rooted in fear rather than faith. The mind becomes conditioned to expect disappointment, to prepare for lack, to anticipate struggle. The world teaches you that by expecting less, you shield yourself from hurt. But the money magnet knows that expectation is the signal you send into the quantum field, a frequency that attracts experiences in alignment with it. When you expect wealth, wealth moves toward you. When you expect struggle, struggle answers your call. The universe responds to your dominant expectation, not your fleeting wishes. Consider the story of Clara, a woman who longed for financial freedom. She read books, attended seminars, repeated affirmations, but wealth remained distant. Her desires were strong, but her expectations wavered. Deep down, she expected things to stay the same. She anticipated the struggle. Her internal dialogue whispered, "This is too good to be true. Wealth is for others, not me." And so, despite her outer efforts, her inner world built walls that wealth could not penetrate. But one day, Clara decided to change her expectation. She began to carry herself as though wealth was inevitable. She stopped questioning if it would come and began to expect that it would. Her language shifted, her thoughts aligned, her actions followed. And the universe, hearing this new frequency, responded. Unexpected opportunities, financial breakthroughs, new streams of income all flowed in, not because Clara worked harder, but because she expected more. This is the power of expectation. It is the unspoken command that tells the universe how to shape your reality. The money magnet holds high expectations, not from arrogance, but from alignment. They expect wealth, success, opportunity because they know their worth, they know the laws of the universe, and they trust the process. There is a parable of the fishermen. Two fishermen cast their nets into the sea. One expects a meager catch, complains of the scarcity of fish, and pulls in little. The other expects an abundant haul, prepares his nets, opens his boat wide. And even if the fish seem few, he continues to expect more. His catch grows over time, not because the sea favors one fisherman over the other, but because expectation shapes effort, focus, and energy. Expectation calls abundance from the depths. Consider the energy you carry into your daily life. What do you expect when you check your bank account? When you approach new opportunities? Do you brace for disappointment? Or do you open for abundance? Your expectation is the key that unlocks the door to wealth. It is the silent prayer you offer with every thought, every breath. Expect little, and the universe honors that. Expect much, and it must rise to meet you. Think of Jeremy, a young entrepreneur launching his first business. His vision was clear, his passion strong, but beneath it all he expected failure. The world had taught him to prepare for the worst, to brace for the fall. His actions, though well-intentioned, carried the frequency of doubt, and his results reflected this expectation. But when Jeremy chose to shift, to expect success even before it arrived, everything changed. His posture shifted, his conversations flowed with confidence, his energy became magnetic. And success, drawn to that certainty, found him. Expectation is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It shapes your perception, your reactions, your energy. When you expect wealth, you act in alignment with it. You seize opportunities, you speak with confidence, you move with assurance. And the universe, always listening, mirrors this energy back to you. But expectation must be cultivated. It is not enough to wish for abundance. You must expect it. You must live as though it is already weaving its way into your life. This is not delusion. It is alignment. The wealth you seek is on its way, but it answers to the call of your expectation. When you expect it, you create a space for it to land. Sacred practice, the expectation embodiment. Each morning, as you begin your day, pause and ask yourself, what am I expecting today? Notice the honest answer. Is it ease or struggle? Abundance or scarcity? Without judgment, bring awareness to your expectation. Then, with deliberate intent, choose to elevate it. Speak aloud. I expect wealth today. I expect opportunities. I expect ease and flow. Feel these words take root in your body. Carry this elevated expectation into your actions. Walk as one who expects success. Speak as one who expects abundance. Make decisions from this space. At night, reflect on how your day aligned with your expectation. Celebrate the moments where abundance matched your energy. And where it did not, reaffirm your expectation. This is a practice, a muscle you build daily. The money magnet holds the frequency of high expectation consistently, knowing that the universe cannot resist the command of aligned certainty. Let this chapter remind you, expectation is not passive hope, it is active alignment. It is the silent architect of your wealth. Expect more, and the universe will rise to meet you. Chapter 12. The Path of Inspired Action. Wealth, though born in the unseen realms of belief, trust, and expectation, manifests through the conduit of action, but not just any action, inspired action. The money magnet understands this law intimately. They do not move from desperation or obligation. Their actions are not scattered attempts to force outcomes. Instead, they move when the inner nudge arises, when the current of intuition flows strong. They take steps that feel aligned, purposeful, filled with the energy of certainty. This is the path of inspired action, a sacred dance between allowing and doing, between stillness and movement. But what is inspired action? It is the step that feels alive, the action that emerges from a place of alignment, not fear. It is the call to reach out to a potential client when your heart says yes, the urge to launch that creative project even when logic says wait, the impulse to follow a new path because something deep within whispers that it is time. Inspired action is not born from force, it is born from flow. Consider the story of Samuel, an architect who spent years sketching designs but hesitated to share them. His mind was filled with strategies, marketing plans, endless to-do lists. Yet nothing moved. The more he tried to force progress, the more stuck he felt. One day, weary from overthinking, he sat in silence, listening for the quiet voice within. And there it was, a simple idea. Share one design publicly, without expectation, just for the joy of it. It wasn't on his strategic plan. It wasn't part of a marketing funnel, but it felt right. He followed that nudge. And within days, that single post attracted the attention of a major developer who offered him a life-changing project. Inspired action, not forced action, opened the door. This is the way of the money magnet. They understand that action, when aligned, is a multiplier of energy. It amplifies intention, accelerates manifestation. But when action is driven by fear, by the frantic need to make something happen, it creates resistance. The universe responds to the energy behind your action. When you move from alignment, from joy, from trust, your steps are powerful, magnetic. When you move from fear, from scarcity, from desperation, your steps scatter your energy. There is a parable of the fisherman and the tides. One fisherman casts his net at any hour, ignoring the rhythms of the sea, driven by the urgency to catch something, anything. His net often comes back empty or tangled. Another fisherman watches the tides, feels the pull of the moon, listens to the whispers of the sea. He casts his net at the perfect moment, with ease, with trust. His catch is abundant. Inspired action is like casting your net with the tides. It is about moving when the inner rhythm calls, when the energy is aligned. Think of Emma, an aspiring writer who dreamed of publishing her first book. For years, she waited for the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, pushing herself to write even when her heart wasn't in it. But the words felt forced, lifeless. One morning, she sat by her window, watching the sunrise, and felt the gentle urge to write, not from pressure, but from inspiration. She followed that nudge, letting the words flow freely. That chapter became the heart of her book, resonating deeply with readers and opening doors she had not imagined. Inspired action turned her dream into reality. But inspired action requires listening. It requires stillness, space, the willingness to pause and hear the whisper of intuition. The money magnet creates this space. They trust that not all action is productive, that sometimes the most powerful step is to wait, to listen, to allow the next aligned move to reveal itself. This is not laziness. It is sacred alignment. Yet inspired action also requires courage. Often, the nudges that arise feel uncomfortable. They ask you to stretch, to step beyond the familiar. The money magnet knows this. They feel the fear but act anyway, trusting that the inspired path leads to expansion. They understand that the universe meets them halfway, that their steps open the channels for wealth to flow. Sacred practice, the listening field. Each day, create space to listen for inspired action. Find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what is the next aligned step? Do not rush for answers. Let the question settle. Listen for the nudge, the whisper, the gentle pull. It might not come immediately. It might not make logical sense, but when it arises, trust it. Take the step, however small. Move with the energy of alignment. Then, at the end of each day, reflect. Where did you feel guided? Did you follow the nudge? Celebrate the moments where you acted from inspiration, where you moved with the flow. And if you resisted, meet that with compassion. Tomorrow is another day to listen, to align, to act. Inspired action does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is the small step, the phone call, the email, the decision to rest. But every inspired action carries the energy of alignment. It moves you closer to wealth, not through effort alone, but through harmony with the universal current. Let this chapter remind you, wealth flows through aligned movement. Inspired action is the path the money magnet walks. They move not from fear, but from trust, not from pressure, but from inspiration. And the universe, ever responsive, meets them at every step. Chapter 13. The Law of Detachment. There is a paradox at the heart of manifestation, a sacred truth that may seem at odds with everything you have learned about desire and wealth. It is this: to fully receive, you must also release. To allow wealth to flow freely, you must detach from the need for it to come in a specific way at a specific time or in a particular form. This is the law of detachment, a truth the money magnet knows well. They desire deeply, they expect fully, they act with inspiration, but then they let go. They release the grip of control, the clinging to outcomes, and in doing so, they create the space for the universe to deliver what they seek, often in ways far greater than imagined. Detachment does not mean indifference. It does not mean you no longer care about your desires. Rather, it is the state of knowing so fully that what you seek is on its way that you no longer need to force or chase. You become the open hand, the fertile ground, the vessel into which wealth can pour freely. Attachment, on the other hand, is like a clenched fist. It squeezes, it controls, it resists. And in that resistance, wealth cannot flow. Consider the story of Marcus, a man who longed for financial breakthrough. His vision was clear, his actions diligent, but his attachment to the outcome created tension. Every day he checked his bank account with anxiety, questioned if his desires were being heard, doubted if the universe was listening. His grip on the outcome was tight. And so, despite his efforts, wealth eluded him. One evening, exhausted by his own striving, Marcus sat in silence. He realized that his attachment was a wall, blocking the flow. He chose to release it, to trust that what was meant for him would come in its perfect time and form. He continued his inspired actions but detached from needing specific results. And as his energy softened, wealth began to flow. Unexpected clients, surprise financial gifts, new opportunities all arrived, not because Marcus worked harder, but because he let go. This is the sacred power of detachment. It is not a surrender of desire, but a surrender of control. It is the choice to trust the timing, the process, the wisdom of the universe. The money magnet understands this deeply. They do not micromanage the how or the when. They plant their seeds, they water them with action and expectation, but they do not dig them up to check their growth. They know that the harvest will come. There is a parable of the butterfly. A child finds a cocoon and watches it daily, eager to see the butterfly emerge. But in their impatience, they cut the cocoon open too soon, trying to help. The butterfly, not yet ready, cannot fly. Its wings are undeveloped. The child's attachment to the outcome, the need to force the process, hinders the natural unfolding. Detachment, in contrast, allows the butterfly to emerge in its perfect time, its wings strong, its flight free. Think of Leah, a musician who submitted her album to several labels. She poured her heart into the music, desired deeply for it to reach the world, but detached from the need for approval. She trusted that the right path would open, whether through a label or another channel. And when one door closed, she did not resist. She let go, trusting in the greater unfolding. Eventually, an unexpected offer came from a producer who discovered her work independently, an offer far more aligned than she could have orchestrated. Detachment created the space for the perfect opportunity. But detachment requires faith. It requires the willingness to release the illusion of control and to trust that the universe is working on your behalf, even when you cannot see the evidence. It requires you to hold your desires lightly, to allow space for the unknown, the unexpected, the miraculous. Attachment, with its need to force outcomes, creates tension. It signals doubt. Detachment, on the other hand, signals trust, openness, readiness. Sacred practice. The release ritual. Write down one desire that you've been holding tightly, one outcome you've been trying to control. Describe it in detail. Then, beneath it, write, "I release control over how and when this comes. I trust the process. I allow the universe to surprise me." Hold this paper in your hands, feel the energy of release, and then either burn it safely, shred it, or bury it in the earth as a symbol of surrender. Let this ritual be a declaration not of giving up, but of letting go. You are not abandoning your desire, you are trusting its arrival. Throughout your day, when you feel yourself gripping, needing, controlling, return to this mantra: I release, I trust, I allow. Feel the energy of detachment settle into your being. Notice how it softens your heart, opens your mind, creates space for wealth to flow. The law of detachment is not about passive waiting. It is about active allowing. You continue your inspired actions, you hold your desires clearly, but you release the need to control the outcome. You trust that the universe, in its infinite wisdom, will deliver what is best, in the perfect time, in the perfect form. Let this chapter remind you, wealth flows not from control, but from trust, from desire held lightly, from action taken without desperation, from the open hand ready to receive. The money magnet lives in this state of detachment, knowing that what is meant for them will find them. Chapter 14. The Resonance of Joy. Joy is the highest currency of the universe. It is the frequency that unlocks doors without keys, the vibration that dissolves barriers unseen. Where joy flows, wealth follows. The money magnet understands this sacred truth. Wealth is not something to chase, it is something to enjoy. And in the resonance of joy, abundance cannot help but respond. Joy is not a reward for success, it is the catalyst. It is the fertile soil from which wealth grows, the magnetic force that draws prosperity to you like bees to nectar. But the world has taught you otherwise. It has conditioned you to believe that joy comes after the work, after the struggle, after you achieve the desired result. The world says, when the money comes, then you will be happy. But the money magnet flips this script. They know that joy must come first. They understand that the universe responds not to effort alone, but to energy. And joy is the most powerful energy of all. Consider the story of Amelia, a teacher with dreams far beyond the classroom. She longed to travel, to create, to expand. But she waited for the right time to feel joy, believing that once her dreams were realized, happiness would follow. Yet life seemed to stall, caught in a loop of monotony. One afternoon, weary of waiting, Amelia decided to claim joy now. She danced in her living room, painted for the sheer love of color, explored nearby parks as though they were exotic lands. Her joy began to swell, unlinked from outcomes. And then, as if by magic, opportunities arose. An offer to teach abroad, a grant to fund her creative projects. Joy was not the result, it was the cause. This is the resonance of joy. It signals to the universe that you are already aligned with abundance, that you are already wealthy in spirit, regardless of outer circumstances. And the universe, always seeking resonance, matches your frequency. It cannot resist the pull of joy. There is a parable of the singing bird. Two birds live in neighboring trees. One sings only when the skies are clear, when the sun shines bright. The other sings in every weather, its song rising even in the rain. And while both live side by side, the one who sings freely attracts the brightest mornings, the calmest winds, the sweetest fruits. The resonance of joy shapes the environment around it. It draws to itself conditions that match its frequency. Think of David, an entrepreneur building his business. For months, he worked tirelessly, believing that success required sacrifice, that joy would come later. But his efforts felt heavy, his results stagnant. One morning, David paused and asked himself, what would happen if I infused joy into my work now? He began to approach his tasks differently, not as burdens, but as opportunities to express his passion, his creativity, his essence. Meetings became conversations filled with laughter. Projects turned into playgrounds for his ideas. And as joy entered the process, success followed. Clients responded to his energy. Collaborators appeared. Wealth flowed, not because he worked harder, but because he worked with joy. You must understand, joy is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the money magnet. It is the frequency that tells the universe, I am open, I am ready, I am aligned. Joy is the evidence of trust, the embodiment of abundance. When you live in joy, you become magnetic. You attract wealth, not because you are chasing it, but because you are radiating the energy that wealth responds to. But joy must be cultivated. It is not always the default state. The world presents challenges, hardships, reasons to postpone happiness. But the money magnet knows that joy is a choice, a practice, an act of alignment. It is the decision to find delight in the simple, to create beauty in the mundane, to nurture the spirit even when the outer world gives reasons to despair. Sacred practice, the joy generator. Each day, carve out time, no matter how small, to do something that brings you joy, not for productivity, not for gain, but for the sheer pleasure of it. Dance, sing, walk in nature. Create, laugh. Let this act be sacred, untouchable by obligation. As you engage in this joy, affirm to yourself, this is my wealth, this is my abundance. Notice how your energy shifts, how your body relaxes, how your spirit expands, and carry this vibration into your day. Additionally, before engaging in any task, whether it's work, finances, or mundane chores, pause and ask, how can I bring joy into this? Perhaps it's music in the background, a moment of gratitude before beginning, or simply infusing your actions with a sense of purpose. Joy transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. The money magnet understands that joy is not about ignoring reality, it is about shaping it. It is about choosing the vibration that wealth recognizes, the frequency that abundance calls home. Joy is the invitation, wealth is the guest that accepts. Let this chapter remind you, joy is the resonance that wealth responds to. It is the beacon that signals to the universe, I am abundant now. The money magnet does not wait for wealth to feel joy. They feel joy, and wealth follows. Chapter 15. The sacred cycle of receiving. Receiving is an art as sacred as giving. It completes the cycle of abundance, allowing the flow of wealth to move freely, unobstructed, from the unseen into the seen, from the universe into your hands. The money magnet understands this cycle intimately. They do not resist receiving, nor do they diminish their worthiness to receive. They know that to receive fully is to honor the flow of life itself, to open the channels through which wealth pours. Yet for many, receiving feels unnatural, uncomfortable. The world has taught you to give, but not how to receive. It whispers that accepting too much is selfish, that asking for more is greedy, that your value is tied to how much you sacrifice. But the money magnet knows, receiving is not greed. It is gratitude in action. It is the acknowledgement that you are part of the sacred exchange of life. Consider the story of Helena, a healer whose hands brought comfort to many. She gave generously, her time, her energy, her wisdom, but struggled to receive in return. When clients offered payment or gifts, she hesitated, waved them away, saying, "It's nothing." Over time, though her heart was full, her bank account remained empty. Her giving, though sincere, was incomplete. One day, a wise elder visited her practice. Watching Helena refuse yet another gesture of appreciation, the elder spoke softly. "When you reject receiving, you block the giver's blessing. You close the circle." These words settled in Helena's spirit. She began to practice receiving with grace, with openness, with gratitude. She allowed the gifts to flow toward her, completing the sacred cycle. And in doing so, her abundance expanded, not just financially, but energetically. She felt fuller, richer, more connected to the flow of life. You must understand, receiving is as important as giving. Without it, the cycle of abundance is broken. The universe, like any giver, delights in its gifts being received fully, joyfully. When you resist receiving, whether it's money, love, compliments, support, you send a signal that you are closed, that your vessel is full, and so the flow stops. But when you receive with gratitude, with openness, you signal that you are ready for more, that your channels are clear. The money magnet lives in this cycle. They give freely and receive fully. There is a parable of the river and the reservoir. The river flows endlessly, giving its waters to the land, nourishing fields, filling lakes. But the reservoir, built to receive, blocks its intake, fearing it will overflow, fearing it will take too much. Over time, the reservoir dries, its purpose unfulfilled. But when it opens its gates, when it allows the waters to enter freely, it fills, and in turn gives back to the land. The balance is restored. Receiving is the opening of those gates. It is the willingness to let the flow of life enter. Think of Marcus, an artist who poured his heart into his creations but struggled to price his work fairly. He believed that asking for more would diminish his sincerity. His art remained undervalued, not because it lacked worth, but because he resisted receiving its true value. When Marcus began to honor his work, to receive payment not as a transaction but as an exchange of energy, everything shifted. His clients felt the shift too. They valued his art more because he valued it. Wealth began to flow, not just in money but in recognition, in opportunities, in joy. But receiving is not limited to money. It is about allowing all forms of abundance into your life. Support from others, compliments, opportunities, love. The money magnet says yes to these gifts. They do not deflect compliments with self-deprecation. They receive them, allow them to land, to nourish. They do not turn away help, believing they must do everything alone. They receive assistance, knowing that to allow others to give is to complete the sacred exchange. Sacred practice. The receiving ritual. Each day, practice receiving consciously. When someone offers you a compliment, pause, breathe it in, say, "Thank you," and allow it to settle into your being. When someone offers help, accept it with gratitude. Let yourself feel the joy of receiving. Additionally, place your hands over your heart each morning and speak aloud, "I am open to receive. I welcome abundance in all its forms." Visualize yourself as a vessel, open and ready, allowing the flow of wealth, love, support, and joy to enter. To deepen this practice, write a letter to the universe expressing your readiness to receive. Name what you are open to: wealth, opportunities, love, and affirm your worthiness to receive them. Speak to the universe as a trusted friend, acknowledging your role in this sacred cycle. Let this letter be a declaration of openness. Receiving is not passive, it is active alignment. It is the willingness to stand in the flow of abundance and say, "Yes." The money magnet knows that receiving fully is an act of courage, an act of love, an act of alignment. They open their hands, their heart, their life, and allow wealth to enter. Let this chapter remind you, you are worthy of receiving. Wealth flows where there is openness. The sacred cycle of giving and receiving is the heartbeat of abundance. Honor both, and you live in the full rhythm of wealth. Chapter 16. The Embodiment of the Magnet. This is the final truth, the sacred culmination of all that has been whispered through these chapters. You are not here to learn how to attract wealth. You are here to remember that you are the magnet itself. The wealth you seek is already encoded within you. It moves toward you not because of what you do alone, but because of who you are. When you embody the magnet, you no longer chase. You no longer plead. You no longer wait. You stand firm, rooted in your being, and allow wealth to orbit your presence like the planets around the sun. This is the embodiment of the magnet. To embody the magnet is to hold the vibration of certainty, to rest in the knowing that all you desire is already on its way. It is to move through life with the posture of abundance, the tone of prosperity, the rhythm of alignment. The money magnet does not force the universe, they dance with it. They move when inspired, they trust when still, they receive with open hands and open heart. They are the embodiment of flow, of grace, of wealth in motion. Consider the story of Elias, a craftsman whose shop sat quietly in the heart of the city. His work was impeccable, his skill unmatched, yet for years he felt unseen. He marketed, he pushed, he strategized, but the flow remained scarce. One day, standing before the window of his shop, Elias felt a shift deep within. He realized he had been chasing, striving, trying to make wealth come, and in that moment he chose a new way. He stood taller, spoke with confidence, infused his work with love, and trusted that those meant to find him would. He became the magnet, and wealth, sensing this new embodiment, responded. Clients arrived, not because he hunted them down, but because his presence called them forth. This is the way of the money magnet. They embody the wealth they seek. They do not wait for evidence to believe. They believe, and the evidence arrives. They walk as though abundance is already theirs, and the universe aligns accordingly. But embodiment is not a one-time act. It is a daily choice. It is the decision, moment by moment, to align with the vibration of wealth, to stand in the frequency of abundance, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. The money magnet holds this vibration not only when wealth flows, but when it seems absent. They know that wealth is not defined by what is visible. It is defined by what is felt, what is believed, what is embodied. There is a parable of the lamp and the flame. One lamp waits for the darkness to end before lighting its flame. Another lights its flame regardless, trusting that its glow will dispel the shadows. The second lamp becomes the source of light, the beacon that transforms its environment. To embody the magnet is to be that flame, to hold the vibration of wealth regardless of external conditions, knowing that your energy shapes reality. Sacred practice, the magnet meditation. Each morning, find a quiet space. Sit comfortably, spine tall, hands resting on your heart. Close your eyes, breathe deeply. With each inhale, draw in the energy of abundance. With each exhale, release any doubt, any fear. Visualize yourself as the center of a magnetic field, radiating wealth in all directions. See money, opportunities, love, support flowing toward you effortlessly. Feel the power of your magnetism. Speak softly. I am the magnet. I am wealth embodied. Let this truth resonate through every cell. Carry this vibration into your day. Move, speak, decide from this space. Embodiment is not about waiting for wealth. It is about becoming it. It is about holding the frequency so steadily that the universe cannot help but reflect it back. Conclusion: the living magnet. You have walked this sacred path, journeyed through these teachings, remembered the truth that was always within you. You are the magnet. You do not need to chase wealth. You do not need to struggle for abundance. You only need to align, to embody, to become the vibration of what you seek. Wealth responds to who you are, not just what you do. It flows to your energy, to your certainty, to your embodiment. You now understand the principles, the alignment of belief, the power of expectation, the flow of trust, the grace of detachment, the resonance of joy, the sacred cycle of giving and receiving, the path of inspired action, the identity of wealth. These are not separate teachings. They are the facets of the same gem, the layers of the same truth. As you move forward, remember, this is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a new way of living. You are now a living magnet, radiating wealth in all its forms. Let this embodiment guide your steps. Let your vibration speak louder than your words. Let your presence be the invitation for abundance to flow. Trust in this. The universe responds to the magnet you become. It aligns with your energy. It echoes your frequency. It meets you at the level of your belief. There is nothing outside of you that you must chase. All is within you, ready to unfold. Walk as the magnet. Live as the magnet. Be the magnet. And so it is. If you enjoyed this audiobook, consider sharing your reflections below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more journeys into the heart of abundance. Your engagement helps spread these teachings and supports this sacred space. If this message resonated with you, help us spread the wealth. Like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful teachings. Your energy keeps this circle of abundance flowing.